Start things off, Jack, I just want to know how quarantining is right now with two young kiddos and I guess a dog there behind you too. What's life like for you right now?
Yeah, it has its challenges as everybody's going through. I mean, the challenges that my family's dealing with is not comparable to what some of the other people out there that are dealing with. So it's hard to complain or say anything about that. But I've enjoyed the time, getting to spend extra time with the kids, and that part of trying to take that part for a positive.
Hey, Phil B.
Thanks for your time, Jack. Yeah, I was looking at the dog down there too. He's pretty excited about this. I was watching some old video recently, and you're in the locker room, and Hasselbeck's teasing you, and you got that understated smile, and you just kind of nod. And I think about the Jack back then when you got here, and now the Jack now, and I'm wondering how you've seen yourself grow, not just as a person, but as a football player. And I've teased you before, but you're kind of an elder statesman in the locker room now.
Yeah, I think about those days. Every so often I think of old teammates. You mentioned Matt. We'll talk to him every once in a while. And I was lucky to come into a locker room and have a locker by him, and get advice from a guy like that. But yeah, I just think it's me as a player, I've just tried to get better every day, and just let that kind of snowball. And then same thing as a person, you have your ups and downs like you do as a player, as a person, and just try to improve and become a better husband, become a better dad, and have a long way to go. So just still trying to do that.
Hey, Kevin Mullins.
Jack, I know 2018 was pretty frustrating for you injury-wise, but last year, very, very healthy. Have you changed how you work out in the offseason? Obviously, this year is different with quarantine life, but how have things changed for you just body-wise, workout-wise?
Yeah, good question, Kev. I have. Obviously going into last year was a completely different offseason than I've been through, having a couple, the hip surgery, and then was getting over the kidney procedure or whatever. So that was a completely different offseason and trying to get ready and get my body back. But I've scaled back a little bit in what I do early on, and not pushing myself too far, honestly, because I feel like I got into that in 2018. Not that caused injuries or anything, but just to give my body more of a break after this year, and but still, doing something. So yeah, it has changed a little bit, and I think it has to change. You have to, evaluate yourself every year and see how you're feeling, and just listen to your body and be smart. And then obviously the challenges of working out at home, and I have all the equipment that I need, but the workouts might take a little longer because I don't have everything I need, and it's not all in one place. Has been a bit of a challenge, but I got all day to get it done, so I get it done.
Okay, Dave Griffiths.
Hey, Jack. After the team drafts Jonathan Taylor, you pair him with Marlon Mack. You figure you guys are going to run more than the average NFL team out there. So a two-part question is, one, are you ready to block this year? And two, what do you have to do to help, as Frank says, turn those 5-yard runs into 50-yard runs?
Yeah, I'm always ready to block. I love blocking. I learned to block from a very beginning of football, and I'll give a shout out to Mr. Whitsitt, who's a good family friend and was my first offensive line coach when I played right guard, and taught us how to block. So I've always loved blocking. Yeah, and turning those runs into big runs and explosive runs is just extra effort from everyone, and it's fun. We've been having our meetings and looking at installing plays and looking at runs from last year, and it's fun to watch and see our offensive linemen include Mo in there and all the tight ends, and don't forget about the receivers because they all block, and it's just fun to see guys doing that extra effort. And if we just keep that up, we'll keep hitting those big runs.
Okay, George Bremer.
Jack, if you look back through Philip Rivers' history, he's always liked to throw to the tight end. He's had some really productive guys. One, I guess, kind of a two-parter here too. One, how quickly can you build a relationship with him given the constraints of this offseason? And then two, just how much does that history kind of give you confidence?
Yeah, I've built a relationship over these meetings, and we've texted back and forth, and got to know him a little bit, and I love hearing him, talk during the meetings, and the way he talks ball is really cool. And I see it the same way he does, I guess. I don't know. So feel a little connection there already. And we'll just build off of that, and whatever, the world is, or what we can do, we'll do, and build that timing and that connection. But it's been great to have him in meetings and getting to know him and talk to him. So yeah, it definitely gets me excited to have him here and learn a lot from him.
Joel Erickson.
Darius was saying earlier that Ray Allen spoke to the team last week. What was that like, and just how impressed have you been with the coaching staff's ability to kind of do what you guys would do normally over the internet?
Yeah, the Ray Allen talk was awesome. Just hearing him talk about what he went through, his daily routine, and the importance of routine in his daily life, and how many. I mean, they play so many games in the NBA every year, and I really appreciated that, because I'm a very routine person myself, so it was very cool to hear what his day was like, and I really enjoyed that talk. He gave us some really great insight. The meetings have been going good. I give the coaches a lot of credit. It's weird to be, talking to yourself and presenting, I'm sure, and not getting the reaction that maybe they normally get from players, and not being able to see that. But they've done a great job of asking questions throughout the meetings, and keeping it interactive, and then we're getting to see, our teammates' faces pop up on the screen when they get to answer a question. So you get the feel that, you're kind of in a meeting all together. So I give our coaches a ton of credit, because they've done a great job with the meeting so far.
Okay, Taylor Tannenbaum.
I know one of the undrafted rookies they picked up is a fellow Cathedral guy, a local guy, Kendall. Do you have a relationship with him at all? I know he's obviously much younger, but if you've been able to reach out, just because you guys both, coming out of Cathedral, Indianapolis natives, on a different path than, someone who was maybe drafted early and has a sticking spot.
No, I haven't. I haven't been. I've never met him or talked to him. I guess just because of the age difference. But I did hear that, and obviously excited to have another indie guy, and we'll be happy to meet him when we get that chance. But someone said he's been working with Robert, so I know he's in good hands working with Robert, because Robert's the man. But yeah, great to have another indie guy. And I know we signed Sheldon Day, joined us, and he's a Warren Central guy, and I've gotten to know him through the years of working out together. So excited about that as well.
Jim Aiello.
Hey, Jack. Yeah, you got a new tight end partner there in Trey Burton. I was just wondering, Frank kind of talked about the other day of kind of slotting into Eric's old role, but it being a little bit different. I was just kind of seeing what you thought and how Trey will fit in.
Yeah, Trey's awesome. I've respected and appreciated Trey's game from afar for many years now. We both we came in that undrafted role, started on special teams, and then made our way up, I guess. So I've always respected his game, and he's just an athletic guy. And I kind of the same with Philip. I've been able to text and talk with him back and forth, and getting to know him, and he's an awesome family dude, and I'm really, really excited about having Trey here.
Stephen Holder.
Hey, Jack. When this pandemic thing first started, I think a lot of it was just so much uncertainty and not knowing how this was going to go, how it would affect us. We're still in it, but, you're starting to see the league make preliminary steps and plans, schedule coming out and all that. Have you allowed yourself to maybe see this a little more optimistically, or just what's kind of your view? Because none of you know what you're facing long-term for the season. What's your view?
Yeah, that's very true, Stephen. It's I try not to think about it because you can spin your brain around so many different scenarios and things like that, and really have tried to take a one-day approach, as I'm sure everyone is doing. Obviously sports comes second to all the stuff that's going on, and it's just my job is to prepare for the season and to get myself ready. And get to know my teammates and get ready to play. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm just taking it one day at a time, and can't worry about, all the different scenarios that could come up and might not come up. So it's just, like you said, it is a challenge, but I just got to stay in my own little bubble and worry about that at this point.
Mike Chappell, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, Jack, it's a good lead in. Back in, if you can remember, 13, you're coming out of college, Western Kentucky. What did you do? How did you do during the off-season workouts and camp to make yourself seen and known to where you can stick around and to be where you are here at this point?
Yeah. Going back to 13, that's what I was talking to our tight end coach, Jason Michael, about that. And I feel bad for some of those undrafted guys that, if we don't have a spring program at all, I feel like I made, back in Tennessee, I made a good impression during the spring, right off the bat, and then kind of carried that into camp. And, I ended up getting cut and was going to sign the practice squad and got claimed here or whatever. But, I just, back then I just, just tried to play football. And what the spring did, I feel like it made me feel like I belonged, during that time, and then was able to carry over a little momentum into preseason games and things like that. So yeah, it stinks if we don't have that spring program for those guys to miss out on that opportunity. It's just another one of those things that it's affecting it. And it just, I feel a little bad for those guys.
Just for a quick follow-up on that was going to be a follow-up. Won't it be difficult for not so much draft picks, but the undrafted guys to, you prove yourself in practice on the field and season games. Those might be very rare.
Yeah, I agree. It will be a little bit of a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, for everybody, and it's going to be a challenge for new teammates coming in, like we talked about with obviously we have a new quarterback coming in. It's just that's the situation. That's what we're dealing with. So you don't feel sorry for yourself, and I like I said, I feel a little bad for those guys, but their opportunity they get, you just got to try and make the most of it. And I know they'll be having meetings with the coaches here next week, I think, and hopefully they'll be able to get a grasp of things so that they can hit the ground running when their opportunity does come.
Go last question, Kevin Bowen.
Yeah, going back to Trey for a second, I know he's in the NFC, so maybe you didn't watch a whole lot of film on him, but like when Frank got here, did you ever watch Philly film with him on it, or just what type of player do you see?
Yeah, I remember them, doing the install. We obviously saw a lot of Chargers film and a lot of Philly film from the beginning when Frank and the staff got here. And obviously remember seeing a lot of Antonio Gates, and obviously seeing a lot of Ertz. Ertz is a great route, and then And then Trey would pop up there with some great routes, and I was like, it was just impressive stuff. I can remember one specifically, like a sit route he ran that, was always on the install. It's like this perfect sit route where he sat it down perfectly, came back to the ball, and made a big catch for him. And it's just like that's what and I was always so happy for him. Like I said, coming from the undrafted guy, we all kind of, I feel like it's its own little fraternity, and you root for each other. But yeah, and then now I didn't know him till we signed him, and getting to talk to him, he just seems like an awesome dude. So it's gonna be fun to have him in the room, and excited to see what he can do.